and welcome back to the Millie Fox Show. This show is for the high-achieving woman, the overachieving woman, the recovering perfectionist that has done everything she thought she was supposed to do, and yet still things just aren't feeling the way that she wants them to feel. It's a little niggly. It's a little crusty. We don't know what's going on. But what we're going to talk about on this podcast are the antidotes to such a life. Because life is meant to be juicy and delicious. So we're going to talk about the identity restructuring that needs to happen, the self-trust that needs to be built, the self-compassion, the nervous system regulation, the spirituality, the magic, the woo-woo stuff, but without the fluff, without the forcing, without the self-gaslighting. Okay, so you're in the right spot if any of that resonated with you. And today we're going to talk about the identity that's been hijacking you, that's been running your life, because the truth is that identity is everything. Identity over everything. Who you believe yourself to be is going to dictate the reality that you create for yourself. Okay. Whenever you have these thoughts running and playing in your mind, subconsciously, even just under the radar, I'm the type of person who, I'm not the type of person who. It's going to really impact the way that you show up in the world, the energy you show up with, the results that you are going to expect, the beliefs that you have, and so on and so forth. Okay. I've created an entire framework around this. It's an identity first conscious life creation, aka manifestation. I try to take a step back from that term just because of all the other people and things that are associated with such word. And everybody has a great intention. I'm absolutely sure of it. It's just that there are so many disclaimers that are needed when manifestation is being taught. So you're going to get those here. You're going to get them with me. No bullshit manifestation. Because yes, we do create our reality. Absolutely. I saw this really incredible reel. I'm not going to be able to requote it, but basically it was saying how, the religious people call it prayer, the witches call it spells, the spiritualists call it manifestation. Nobody denies it exists. Nobody denies its existence, but we all just call it different things. So basically along those lines, that's what we are going to get into, and it all starts with your identity. Okay. So if you're in a place right now that you don't love, if your life is not feeling juicy and delicious to you, if there's some level of dissatisfaction, of frustration, it's because you are operating from a version of yourself that you have either outgrown or can't hold what it is that you want, does not have the capacity to receive or to hold what it is that you truly want. And it's not some big block. It's not some big old deal that you got to go and treat yourself like a DIY fix-it project. It really is just a shift in the way you relate to yourself. I'm going to keep saying that over and over and over until you get it, because every time you hear something, it's going to tickle a different part of your brain. So I'm going to teach you a really great place to start when it comes to identity, because it's a big topic. It's a really big topic. The question, who am I? Who am I? Could be the question that you continue to answer for the rest of your life. And you probably will, because our environments are constantly shifting. The contrast is always changing. And the way we relate to ourselves is highly based on the things that we experience and the meaning we make of it. So I have created a system that I have referred to for many years as Manifest OS. And it is a new operating system for automatically really creating the life that you want through these questions that you ask yourself. The very first question, which is the one that we're going to dive into today, is who are you? Questions are who are you? What do you want? What's getting in the way? What do you need to do? And what to do if you get off track? It's not a secret, okay? Because information is highly commoditized. I don't sell information. I sell embodiment, okay? So if you want to embody any of the things that you hear me talk about, the solution is to not try to do it on your own, because the biggest change does not happen in a vacuum. It happens in relationship, in community, and proximity. So getting into it, the first question of the Manifest OS process is, who are you? And it's a behemoth of a question. It's like one of those really big hamburgers that you're not really sure how you're going to wrap your mouth around. I remember I had branding for one of my freebies, the Meet Manifest Everything Actually Intangibly guide, where I ordered a burger just for the photos, to take the photos, and it was such a good burger. It was so much fun to take the photos. Anywho, there is a framework I have created called the 3 levels of identity, and it's going to help you start to scratch the surface of this question, who am I, and start to shift the way that you relate to yourself on a day-to-day basis, because we're not trying to quantum leap into some next level identity that we put on a pedestal and act like is above being human. That's not going to work, okay? That's just going to induce higher levels of your perfectionism and lead to things we don't want. So we have 3 levels of identity. We have, first and foremost, our source identity. This is what I call your OG consciousness. It is the spirit, soul, whatever it is you want to call, that came into this body in this lifetime, in this world. It is the part of you that is inseparably connected to creation, to God, if you're cool with that word, universe, source, energy, whatever works for you. That is the part of you that will exist beyond this lifetime too. It's calm, that part of you. It is love, right? Only love is real, okay? Love, light, whatever you want to call it. I'll get all love and lighty here for a second, but there is no dark switch when you walk into a room, right? As Abraham Hicks says, there's a light switch or there is absence of light. So your source self is that original knowing and is pure light. It is pure love. Okay. Anything that you experience that is in contrast to this is simply a misalignment from who you really are. It is just a disagreement with your actual highest self about who you are. So your source self is one. Second is your human identity. Okay. That is exactly what you think it is. It's this iteration of you. It is the version of you with all of your subconscious patterning, your conditioning, your quirks, your Achilles heels, all of the, perceived weaknesses that you have, character flaws, blah, 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 blah. It's all of the things that you've accumulated like a rolling ball of tumbleweed in this lifetime, right? It's the things that make us human, like the constant need to want to grow and expand, to be flawed so that we can learn, so that we can connect with each other, right? Perfection gives us nothing to grab onto. So our humanness is inherently imperfect, and that's what makes it beautiful. And then we have our vortex self. And if you know anything about the vortex, this is also from Abraham Hicks, the vortex is essentially the realm of possibility. It is the place that exists in the field of potential where everything you could ever want already is created and exists. So if you follow Abraham Hicks, they will say, as soon as you ask, your wish is granted. Ask and it is given. But it's not given in the 3D world. It is granted into the vortex. So it is immediately there. And people have these massively full vortexes full of all of their hopes, dreams, desires, etc. And the only thing is that we have to allow them into our physical reality. And that's a whole different piece, because allowing is the tricky part for the human self. But the vortex self is the version of you that is able to receive. The vortex you is the, next level self, air quotes, that is able to hold the life of your dreams. Okay? And that version of you is also going to be human. This is the big, big reminder that I need to give you, is that the version of you that has everything you want, new level, new devil, baby, is still going to have flaws. So a big mistake that a lot of people make when they are trying to grow is that they come up with this identity of next level them, and then they have all these brand new habits, behaviors, standards, and fake rules that they make up for themselves. And then they start feeling like a failure, trying to be this next level version of themselves. So what I want to make abundantly clear is that the vortex version of you is, yes, the most resourced version of you, but she's never going to be shitting on you. That version of you, in fact, the source version of you and the vortex version of you are, neither of them are going to be the ones criticizing you. They are going to be your biggest cheerleaders. So whenever you experience self-criticism, when your self-talk is unkind, that is the human level of you. And again, hey, I don't want to shit on the human version of you. All of these versions of you are very important. So the human version of you is also very sacred. And she deserves respect, because it took a lot of courage to come down to this existence on the planet Earth in our meat suits, on our, flying ball rock through the sky. It took a lot of courage, and our human self, we vowed to come and experience this expansion, to be a part of the very worthy mission to expand consciousness, because that is what is happening, and it's happening at a more rapid rate than ever before. The universe is expanding, consciousness is expanding. Okay. So the human self deserves respect. The human self deserves self-compassion. But now let's look at what we really need to do with each of these versions of ourselves. We need to have rituals and little ways throughout our day that we can connect to each of these versions of ourselves. So what I want you to do is to think of each of these versions, your source self, your vortex self, your human self, and really think day to day, how do I connect with this version of me? How can I connect with my human self? Maybe the human self you connect with through getting dressed up in clothes that make you feel like yourself. Who are you as a human? What has lit you up in this lifetime? What is something that you used to do as a kid that you don't do anymore, that you loved? Or what's something that you always wanted to try that you haven't? It's about sensory experiences. Your source self can be accessed very well through nature. Do some forest bathing. Go and put your toes in the grass. What do they call that? Grounding. Go for a walk in your local, trail behind the suburbs and stick your hands in the creek. Or sit in meditation. In silence, connect to something beyond your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. And your vortex self is really living in the realm of your imagination. Neville Goddard, who is an OG from oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the name of the movement, the New Thought movement from back in the day. And Neville Goddard says that imagination is God, which is quite the concept to wrap your head around. So we have that power in our minds all of the time. And how much time do we spend playing in the realm of imagination? What activates you? The word activate is a really good one to explore. What makes you curious? Curiosity has a high inbuilt level of potential. I love the energy of curiosity. It immediately shifts you out of lack, fear, scarcity. Very powerful. Okay. So imagination, curiosity, activation, power, personal power. What makes you feel powerful? Very, very good for the vortex self connection. So having these connections with your source self, your human self, and your vortex self are going to really help you with this identity piece. And if you want to go deeper into the human stuff, you can look at what's your human design. Maybe what kind of personality types tests can you take to get to know your human self a bit better? Your coping mechanisms, your attachment style. That's a really good one to look at. I teach all of this in my program, by the way. If you want to dive into this stuff and actually do this work, you know where to find me. Come on over to Instagram. I feel as though we're really getting into it here a little deeper than I expected to. But like I said, we are not meant to do this work alone. And from my experience, reading books and listening to podcasts are super duper duper helpful. Don't get obsessed with it, and don't rely on that as, any kind of it's a bit of mental masturbation, if we're being completely honest. It is activating, which is awesome. But activation without integration is just fluffing yourself. So, yes. Okay. Let's go here. The problem really is with the identity that most women are just making decisions from their coping patterns. And they are trying to make big results happen from a dysregulated state. So nervous system, that's part of your human self. How's your nervous system doing? What's your startle response like? My startle response is terrible. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse. I know when it's really bad that I need to do some chilling work. Not just chilling work, safety work. It's like the other day I had my headphones on, my big headphones, and my fiance came in the bedroom up behind me, and I literally looked like a chicken trying to take flight because my arms went all crazy and I jumped. He made fun of me so hard. But if you are trying to make big results happen from a dysregulated state, you're going to crash and burn like that chicken trying to fly, baby. You might get a little lift off, but you're not going too far. You're not going too high, and then other things you might be doing, like with money, you might be undercharging, overthinking, getting all weird about your pricing, your value. In your dating life, you might be allowing breadcrumbing. You might be chasing. You might be sitting there waiting for the text and checking your phone and making it mean something. Or you could be trying to tell yourself that you don't care and you're being a cool girl, and with this is dating, but even with your partner, could be shutting down emotionally, withdrawing to low-key punish or throw a mini tantrum without saying anything, well, fine, if you're not going to ask me on a date, then I'm just going to be busy. I'm just going to be too busy for you. And then get mad when he doesn't notice or seem like he cares enough to come chasing you. Or business. Being super inconsistent, going all in on content like crazy and then completely ghosting, quitting a launch cycle halfway through. The whole thing really comes down to you cannot change your life without changing who is operating it. Okay? So that's what we are focusing on here. We are going to be just scratching the surface of the idea of how do I relate to myself? How can I shift the way I see myself and move from there? What would the Vortex version of me do? What would the Vortex version of me say to this version of me? What would my source self say to me? They're going to be your biggest cheerleaders. Okay. In the next episode, we are going to talk about control. Yeah, I'm a control freak. Oh my gosh, I am actually still. I go through periods where I can be chill, and then I go off the deep end with being a control freak. And I know that's like the biggest red flag when it happens, that I'm not feeling good enough or I'm not feeling safe. So we are going to go into that next week. I'm going to show you why trying to control everything is actually the thing that is keeping you stuck and how to shift out of that. Because even though I do these things too, like, I relate to you guys. That is literally why I create this podcast and do everything that I do, is because I am you. I've just figured out how to, how to lead myself without punishing myself all the time. I can still be a bitch to myself, but I have figured it out to the point where I can genuinely say, I love myself. I love my life. I like myself. I have a lot of fun. I'm present. I'm proud of myself. I've changed everything. I've had a lot of really brave and courageous moments that have got me here. But it doesn't make me any better than you. I'm still an extremely flawed human being. I just have a lot to say. I've always been a yapper, and I've always liked to push my own limits and boundaries. So that's why I'm here. I feel extremely called to this work. Since I was a small child, I felt that I had a purpose to help people, and I knew it was going to be something like this. I knew I wanted to help women, especially to help prevent women from losing their spark in life, from having their potential sucked out of them because of some kind of ridiculous feeling of not enoughness or pain or suffering. So that's what this is about. All of these concepts, like if you just stick with me, all of these concepts, they compound, and you're going to start to build the picture out and go like, oh, I see how it all fits together now. It's really quite stunning. It's really quite beautiful. I'm absolutely so grateful for my ability to be a conduit here, and for all of the incredible clients that I've had the honor of working with, who come back to me time and time and time over and tell me what an impact this work has made on their life, on the way they feel about themselves. And I honestly, I do take the compliments, but it's not just me, this work has come through me for a bigger purpose. So thank you for being here. If you enjoyed this episode, please become a part of the mission by amplifying the message. Share it, subscribe, like, whatever it is, interact, comment, take a moment. I know you're in the flow of whatever you're doing, but the more we interact with this, the more we do put it out there, the more other women are going to have the opportunity to find it. And that is something you can do. That is definitely something you can do, even if you're not in the business of, working with other women yourself, right? That is a small thing you can do. I'd be greatly appreciative of it. And if you share something, tag me so I can give you my deepest appreciations. And come on and tune into the next episode. and figure out how to release a little bit more control while also knowing that you are still going to get everything you want. Okay. Talk to you soon.